it might seem miraculous, but it's usually something you told somebody.
Yeah.
Or you said something, you made some sort of move that started the energy kind of going in a different direction to get you some help. And then they'll give God all the credit when it wasn't this being in the sky. It was you doing something about it, and then the people that came along and helped.
Hi, I'm Dan.
I'm Can.
And this is the Dan and Can podcast. Welcome back to all of our friends and welcome to our new friends. Glad to have you. And if you're the first time here, remember, check us out on YouTube. Give us a like, follow, and subscribe. We'd appreciate that greatly. And also,
smash that like button.
If you're listening on the streamer, give us 5 stars. Just want to get that out. If you want to reach out to us, danandcan.com, but we'll hit it at the end too. Just want to get that out in front and go on there. So today we're going to have an interesting one. Going a little out of our ordinary schedule today. But that's all right. So we're going to adjust.
I never knew we had a schedule, but.
Of course you didn't. I'm the schedule man. But yeah, we'll adjust, or I'll adjust and make it work. Candy's just like all feels the same to me. So, coming off of vacation and whatnot, so kind of knocking the dust off this and getting back into it. So this one, we'll see how we do coming into it. So, but before we get going into our new topic and new series that we're both so excited and so unprepared for, we have an update from a video that we put out a couple weeks ago.
Ooh.
We were talking about, I think we're doing random videos, and in it we were discussing hijacking people's personal space and
the lady in the airport?
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's get an update on her and how things are going for her.
Well. A Christian preacher who brags about loving captive audiences just got temporarily banned from 3 airlines. Her name is Whitney Lynn, and she's referred to as the Sky Evangelist, probably because when you listen to her, you want to hurl yourself through the air. She's part of a growing trend of Christian preachers turning commercial flights into unsolicited worship services, as if air travel wasn't miserable enough already. So,
remember which one we're talking about?
I remember the lady that was holding people hostage.
She would be in airplanes when they're boarding or unboarding or in airports and whatnot, where people just were stuck in a captive audience.
On Thursday, Lynn was preparing to fly from Orlando to San Diego on Alaska Airlines, and as passengers were still boarding, she began preaching while her partner filmed her. But before takeoff, a flight attendant asked Lynn and her camera person to leave because, he said, the crews don't feel safe with you.
The crews don't feel safe with you.
They don't feel safe?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know the message of Jesus Christ was unsafe.
Lynn immediately...
Persecution. She's being persecuted for Jesus.
What's that?
She'll turn it that way into persecution.
Oh, indeed. Let's see how she does.
Began arguing that she had free speech rights, and she called the situation spiritual warfare. Yep. Because religious persecution now means an airline won't let you commandeer the cabin for Jesus. And somehow, she became even more obnoxious after leaving the plane. Lynn suggested the flight attendant targeted her because he was gay. Then she tried to convert the airport police officers who were there to de-escalate the situation. Then she started preaching loudly inside the terminal, talking over potentially important airline announcements before continuing her complaints on the airport tram. I watched all the videos, and I will just say this. Whenever she walked away, no one seemed upset that she was gone. That's what everybody thinks about Christians like her. Lynn says she then tried to rebook her flight later that night, but Alaska Airlines emailed her to say she could no longer fly with them or their corporate partners, at least while the company investigates what happened. Anyway, good. This is a perfect example of Christian privilege. Imagine a Muslim passenger standing up to preach about Islam, or an atheist yelling about why God doesn't exist. I would bet most of those Christians praising airplane evangelists as brave would suddenly become very concerned about boundaries. That's why we need to remember this. Lynn wasn't removed because she's Christian. She was removed because she was disrupting a flight. And she should be banned from flying everywhere because she has said she has no intention of stopping. Christians should be the one leading the opposition to this behavior too. Because if Christianity can only command attention when the audience is physically unable to escape, that doesn't prove the power of the message. It proves why so many of us want to get away from the damn messengers. Well.
Wow.
Okay. Thought we have another one to react to on her, but thoughts on that?
It just doesn't surprise me that she turns it into,
I'm
I'm being persecuted because of my message for Jesus. And then also, first of all, that's the friendly atheist, I think. Yeah. Friendly atheist. Is that what it said? I remember him when I first started deconstructing. He was one of the people that I would listen to early in my deconstruction, not the very beginning, but as I began to listen to atheists, he was one of them because I like him. But hadn't seen him in a long time. But yeah, she, his point at the end, if it should be Christians saying this isn't okay, because if you have to be trapped in order to listen, how different that is from the very first Christians. They weren't trapping people in space. It was in the open space where people would actually listen or were drawn to it.
Yeah.
People should be drawn to the message. If they're not drawn to it, then I would say it's not good news. It's probably not the gospel that they proclaim they think they're telling or whatever. There's not good news in it. It's usually pretty...
Yeah, if your message is so powerful, go to a park and start preaching
and start yelling it out and see if people
in an open
respond.
space and see if people come to you.
And actually want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
Instead of
you can't leave.
Yeah.
It's performative. They want to get the views and the hits, and they want to get, and I've seen a few videos since we put that original one out where people were breaking it down. They're like, well, watch this, and this is what it's for. And they showed another young woman doing it. And then they fast forward through the whole spiel that she's doing. And it had to be a good 3-4 minute spiel that she did because it was fast forwarding for a while. And then at the end, she looks up there and all her colleagues in a row were like, oh, yay, congratulations, good job. All she was doing it for was the praise from the people around her and the approval of, I did that, I preached it, I spread the gospel message. And you probably discourage so many people away from following your belief system because... Yeah,
and if it's not for other fellow Christians, they think they're doing it for God and God will bless them in some way. I don't know. This is... I'm torn a little bit because sometimes I think if you are the truest of Christians that I was raised to be, and you really genuinely believe there's a hell that people are going to burn in, you would act like this. If you really loved people, you would try to tell them all the time. You just say it when they're trapped because you're so desperate to get them to believe it, right? But yet most Christians, I would presume, would not like that, what she's doing.
Yeah.
Because they'd be like, you don't need to trap people. And then they wouldn't even want to hear it. They would be like, I'm having a conversation with my friend here at the plane and I don't want to hear, you yelling over it so we can't have our conversation or whatever. Or maybe I missed my gate, the call, for boarding because you were shouting in the airport or whatever. But yet the most zealous probably would do something like that. I don't know. Because honestly, that's almost like if you really believe that, then you're going to act like that. And I mean, I don't want more Christians to act like that, but
no, it's, they're convicted to do it. But I mean, like he was saying, your message is so shitty that if you have to do it to captive audiences.
Leave it up to your God to tell people. I mean, really.
That's not a great message to give.
Yeah.
And that's what's coming across is the only time you can do this is when we can't leave. You're forcing us to go to church right now where we don't want to. So fuck you and have a shitty day. But all right, so let's go another one of hers, another person reacting to it. So it's a reaction to a reaction to a reaction. We really incepted this one.
So what do you get when you mix equal parts of white chick entitlement with religious psychosis? Let's find out together.
Can you tell me what's
Yeah,
going on? You
that's
can't
exactly
just tell me to get my stuff and then not tell me what's
Religious
going on.
Yeah, you can.
So just follow your stuff and follow me.
Huh?
Just pick up your stuff and follow me.
Okay. You're still not telling me.
Huh?
Still not telling me
So
what's
the
going
girls
on.
don't feel safe with you.
They don't feel safe. Oh my gosh! I didn't know the message of Jesus Christ was unsafe. So freedom of speech is not safe. So if I said something else, would that be okay?
Real quick, the flight attendant's face.
Right.
We're all feeling that. Oh my God.
I'll tell you what this is. It's called spiritual warfare. You know why? Yeah, because demons don't like the name of Jesus.
And there it is. Anybody that opposes her, anybody that she doesn't like, that's a demon engaging in spiritual warfare. And as a friendly reminder,
This is psychosis.
if she
But that's
sees
what
you
I'm
as a
saying.
demon,
The truest of
she doesn't
these.
see you as a human being.
Bingo.
Yeah, but it's not unsafe to talk about the gospel.
You
I
can
didn't
talk
know.
to somebody who
Is it a
wants to
crime?
listen.
Is it against the law? Can you tell me that? Is
Look at her
it?
filming herself.
Can you,
Doesn't
can
matter
you
if
tell
it's against
us?
the law. You
Is
can't
it
have
against the law? Is it against the law?
Not against the law, but behaving like that on a flight is very concerning.
Yes.
Can't talk about Jesus anymore. Yep, that's how you know. That's how you know. There's power in that name. Makes people feel
It
unsafe.
sounds like so many
that's
people we
sad.
know.
Very sad.
Zero self-awareness. But while we're at it, why don't we round out this whole experience with a little bit of persecution complex and some end times eschatology? That'd be the cherry on top, right?
We're in the last days. We're being persecuted. Persecuted to be a Christian. It's coming. We're gonna go to jail. It's coming.
Nicely done.
Thank you so much.
No, ma'am, thank you. If you keep this up, you're going to be on a whole bunch of no-fly lists,
Yep.
and you are going to spare all of us from your buffoonery. Anyhow, y'all have a good day.
You too, man. Here's the video she made of her talking on the airplane. Hang on. Before all of this happened.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. I know we're all waiting. It's kind of frustrating, right? This wait. But I want to tell you that God's timing is perfect, and God knows everything. And maybe He's sparing us from danger today. So I want you to rest and know that Jesus Christ loves you so much, that He died on the cross for your sins. He rose again in 3 days. He's alive, and He's the one true God. But
You
the
can see the
wages of
people
our sin
getting
is
so
death.
uncomfortable,
Hell forever.
shifting in their seats
Apart
and
from
like,
Jesus, we won't make it to heaven. But He loves you so much. Make Him Lord. Repent of your sins. He is coming back very soon.
Make Him Lord.
I pray protection over this flight in the name of Jesus. Amen. Amen. Bless you guys. Bless you. Amen.
And as you can tell, the rest of the passengers were very much in support of her by the fact that all of them turned and was like, yeah, amen, sister. Doesn't matter if it's against the law. If the airplane says they want you
They're a
off,
private
they want you
company.
off.
They can do what they want.
Period. The second thing I would ask is, how would that woman respond if, while they were waiting for a runway to take off, a Muslim stood up?
Yep, so
And listen, I'm not
yeah.
defending Islam. I don't defend any religions. I think they're all shit. But a Muslim stood up and started preaching in Arabic. I bet she'd freak the fuck out. I bet she would grab a flight attendant and go, "Wait, get this fucking person off the plane."
She'd
But
say,
the last
"Get
question I
this
have, if
buffoon."
God
She wouldn't say effing.
has a reason for everything, if everything happens because it's God's will, then do you agree that it was God's will to kick you off of that
Yeah,
flight?
see,
And
they
not to
don't.
protect you from
That's the
danger,
devil.
because the flight didn't go down, there was no terrorist
Or
attack,
God
there was no
testing
bad
them.
weather, they landed safely, right? There was no report of that plane going down. So it was God's will to kick you the fuck off that plane. Is it going to be God's will when you can't get on any fucking airplanes? Because that's what's had to happen. You're going to go on no-fly lists, and you're not going to be able to fly anywhere unless you charter a plane. Is that going to be God's will too? how nobody on that plane stood up, turned around, and went, "Would you shut the fuck up?" is beyond me.
It's because she's Christian.
So what do you get when
That's
you
a
mix
privilege.
equal parts of white chick entitlement with religious
Thought I had a
psychosis?
different one, but
And the fact that he says it's religious psychosis is very much is religious psychosis. That's what I'm talking about when I'm saying like the ones who believe it the most. This is what it would produce is a psychosis of sorts.
Yeah,
You know,
this
we've
kind of
seen
behavior,
it.
'cause-
You know, I mean, that's who you see on you've seen it in movies. You see it in real life. The people stand there, Jesus coming back. You know, and a lot of times it's someone who's like kind of, you know,
crazy.
kind of lost their mind a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah, they're struggling with mental health issues,
Yeah.
and it's it is religious psychosis.
Mhm.
That is the extreme, or if you actually follow this all the way through, this is what you would act like, and she needs help more than anything.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And to be not able to fly until she's not doing that anymore.
Do that because you can tell on there. You watch the people on the plane; they're uncomfortable. They start fidgeting in their seats because she's talking about protection of a flight. You know, if people aren't comfortable in flying, they hear someone all of a sudden screaming in the back, "Jesus is going to protect you. Don't worry." You don't want to hear anything about the flight going down or something happening on there. And she's, "Oh no, we're protected. We're under the blessing now, unless it's God's will for this plane to go down, because you know that's how it is." So whatever. But so they're getting uncomfortable, and
then God's will right after that. You have to get off the plane. And that's not God's will. That's demons.
I think, honestly, she wanted this to happen because, one, it was locked and loaded right away. Oh, I'm being persecuted now. It wasn't a thought or anything in there. You're persecution.
They also, to be fair, they have that program running.
Yeah,
anything that opposes them.
But she made a number of videos immediately after those videos. She got off the plane, like the one with the cops. She started talking to the cops and filming that, and then trying to convert them. "Oh, Jesus loves you," and blah, blah, blah. And I can't remember all of it. I only saw chunks of it. She did more throughout the airport. So she made like 3-4 videos off that one thing.
So she got a lot of...
It created more content for her. And it'll get more people that are fervent Christ followers.
She either has religious psychosis or she's just doing it to get attention.
Yeah, and
so
she's getting
get followers.
People are going to, way to be brave, way to stand up for Jesus.
Or they're even going to watch it like we're watching. It's obnoxious. Like, look at this, you know?
Yeah. And you can't do that. It's not persecution. Like everyone's saying, if it was something else, you would freak the fuck out and go nuts if it was another religion or an atheist or anything like that. And I saw one from another creator. It was a different one where it was a guy standing up on an airplane, but this guy was doing it as a POV of him sitting in the plane. So he's sitting there, he's got his headphones on, and all of a sudden you hear the guy in the background like, "Can I get your attention, please? Jesus Christ." And the guy goes, "Oh, shit." So he got his headphone on. He starts singing Marilyn Manson's "A Beautiful People" really loud. He goes, "This is how you take care." And what it was he was lip syncing what someone else did on the plane. So the guy started preaching. Then some guy was like, "The beautiful people, doesn't matter the size of your steeple." Doing this. And the guy would stop that was preaching and be like, "What's going on?" And it disrupted him until he finally shut up. And you're like, this is how you take care of it then. You just
It's true. Got to have someone bold enough to do that, though.
Yeah. Start singing over them and doing it and whatnot, and be like, "No, you're not going to do this. You're not going to have free reign on."
It is interesting that nobody stood up and said something. Now, if it was a Muslim standing up there saying something,
you'd have people jumping down.
There would be people
them.
saying stuff right away, right? This is America, or however they would do it, But this is where Christians do not recognize the privilege that they have.
Oh, yeah.
The fact that she just got asked to get off the plane.
Yeah. And didn't get assaulted.
Nothing else happened. And her white privilege, she's a white woman, they were just like, "Get her off of here," and then she can't fly until it's investigated or whatever. But if it had been like a brown-skinned Muslim man standing up and saying something about Allah, people would be freaking the fuck out.
Oh yeah.
And they'll just take it as Christian. I don't know how I do not know. It almost takes a miracle to come out of some of this stuff because of the delusion that some of these people will get into.
Oh, yeah.
It's very difficult, I think, almost to come out of Christianity.
Yeah.
Because it is so much part of the culture that people they just let her do it.
Yeah.
Even though they were uncomfortable, I guarantee you probably 95% of the people did not like what she was doing.
Oh, yeah.
You
A
know,
lot of them.
and yet they didn't say a word.
Yeah. Yeah.
Except for the flight attendant who had the courage to say something.
Yeah. Well, and that wasn't even a flight attendant. That was someone that worked for the airlines. I was like, oh, you got to go. It's the flight attendants called them, so they didn't have to deal with
but
it.
The flight attendants at least did something about it. They're like, you know.
It's disrupting. It's causing problems.
Yeah.
We need to get them off. And
I should ask Billy. We've had her on the podcast. She's my ex-sister-in-law. But we should ask her if she
has to deal with that at all.
Ever has to. I bet you she does. If she works for a different airline. But anyways.
Yeah. It's just like, no, we're not having this.
Yeah.
You can, and it's just, it's entitlement. I got a captive audience. I'm going to, and we know people like that. Once they get a room that, people can't leave, they're going to speak and hold people and just, and
not necessarily even understand or read body language.
Oh yeah.
Oblivious
to it.
No social, and that's where I would say psychosis is like, I don't know. It's a strange thing. And I don't think there's been enough study on it to understand, but it's been around for a long time. I think, you've had people that struggle to meet their own basic needs because they're out like preaching for Jesus, and so, and they think, especially like her saying what she said, Jesus died on the cross, blah, blah, blah. Who in that plane had not heard that message?
Oh, yeah.
We live in a country where that's plastered. I mean, it's like
Well, shit, we were driving, so we went up to Minnesota, and I don't know if you saw it, but you go through, and this is kind of a thing, when you go through the Dakotas, that every so many miles there's going to be a
church
pro-life poster.
Oh, there was a lot of pro-life.
And crosses on the highway for marking everyone that's died on the highway from there, and then a church sign, then a pro-life, then church sign.
And even a small town that we stayed in.
Oh, yeah.
8 churches in a very, very small town. Very small.
Yeah, 600 people, something like that.
Yeah,
800
people.
8
churches.
Yeah, 8 churches. The main road in town was called the King of Trails, stuff like that. And there was like different religious names for streets in town. It was like, okay, we get it. But yeah, it's an obvious message. Everyone's heard it. It's nothing new. So you're not giving anyone any new information. You're just annoying them and probably disrupting their day.
And if, let's say they are going to hell, let's say you're right. First of all, leave it up to your God. If he's so powerful and he wants them to figure that out for them, you don't need to trap them so that you can share your message at them or scream it at them. And also, like, let them have a good life here then, not you constantly, like, if they're choosing it, as some of you believe, then let them have a decent life here and then find out later.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, the path is
they'd
narrow.
only have themselves to blame, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I know why a lot of times Christians don't, though. The ones that do that is, I don't want their blood on my hands, though. There's that verse that they would use all the time. And it's like, okay, but if God's going to put their blood on your hand, he seems kind of messed up if he's going to do that, right?
So that's not even an effective way to do it. No. You think if you want to convince someone of something, you become personally related to that individual. I don't go in and talk to a giant group of people and try to convince them of my ideologies. I find certain individuals and I talk to them and discuss it and debate with them.
And you don't go in just for that reason alone. Yeah. You befriend them, and then maybe you'll have conversations where you can share that part of yourself, and maybe because they know you, they're a little more open to that idea, but instead it seems like, even I remember as a Christian being like, there are some situations you go into and you're just the sole purpose is to witness for Jesus.
Yeah.
And then you feel like shit if you don't do it. Because it seemed like it'd be really awkward to plug that in there, but, and you feel bad if you don't. And then if you do, it usually doesn't go well. It's like, it's not that people hate on it. It's just like, hey, dude, like, it's not what we're here to do, or whatever. So I don't know. Religious psychosis. So what are we talking about mostly today? after 25 minutes in.
We are going to start a new series on deconstructing. And no, it's not going to be about necessarily just, we're deconstructing from the faith. We are going to deconstruct different parts.
Other things that
of the faith.
Or parts of things, because deconstruction affects your whole worldview. If you were born in Christianity, was built on the idea of like, that tells you why you're here, what you're supposed to do while you're here, where you're going, what your purpose is, right? All those things are like wrapped up in Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
And so you think you have the whole world figured out pretty much, right? You have this arrogance. You'll see it in Christians. It can become very, and I'm not talking about just the people who hold to Christianity for like, that's their, loosely their identity. That's where they find their community, blah, blah, blah. I'm talking about people who were very zealous. I was very zealous in it. I believed it with all my heart. Like it was my sole purpose was for Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And like this lady, it's a religious psychosis of sorts, right? And I think when you deconstruct, it unravels all of it so that you are to like, who the hell am I? What is the point of this life? What's afterwards, everything is kind of, everything unravels.
Yeah.
And you have to deconstruct everything, it seems like.
So it's
all encompassing.
It's one of them weird things where you thought you had the source. You were the source of all the information.
Or you knew you were attached to him in some way because you believed in him.
You never looked at the other side or listened to the other side.
You had the answers already.
Yeah,
you don't need the answers.
You had the truth. So we don't need to listen to other perspectives or other things in life. We just listen to what we know to be true because that is the truth.
We have the actual source of the universe at our fingertips and nobody else does. Yeah. And anybody who disagrees with us is wrong.
Yeah. Exactly. So, and that's the way it is. And we're going to beat people over the head until they finally agree with us. And that's the only way.
And if they don't agree with us, they're the outsiders. They're not.
Yeah, they're wrong. And, we won't accept them until they fully agree with us. And that was Christianity.
And I will say this is not just Christianity. There are other religions that do this, but there are other ways in which we act like this. That we don't have to understand other people's points of view.
Yeah.
That our point of view is correct and there's no room for any need to see somebody else's point of view and understand why they're doing what they are, the beliefs they have or the decisions they've made. And I think a huge step, a huge thing to deconstruct is that your point of view is not the only point of view and your point of view is not the truth. It is your truth, but it is not the truth.
Yeah.
And there is no the truth on the point of view. Yeah. Everybody's point of view is different, and there's reasons that it's different.
And one of the things we learned right away was that there are multiple perspectives to everything. And it kind of opened eyes a lot of, okay, yeah, there is different ways to see this and different ways to interpret this. And it's not just my ideology that's going to have to rule the day. Because it won't, because there are different perspectives on things. So I got to learn to live in a world with multiple perspectives. And being able to do that has made life a lot easier to be able to be like, okay, we don't agree on how this went down, but that's all right. We can move on and just understand we have different perspectives.
Or the phrase, agree to disagree. There are some things you can agree to disagree on. Are there some things, you might have to agree to disagree, and then the consequence of that might be, I don't really want to be up close to you because you think this is okay and I don't.
Yeah.
And I see when you get into politics and stuff, there are some people that want to take rights away from some people and they think that that's okay. Well, I don't really want to hang out with people who think it's okay to take away the rights of other people. That's a consequence. I probably won't be friends with them and they probably won't be friends with me, and that's okay. And not thinking that my way is the only way. You can see this on both sides of the political spectrum, because I think sometimes we jump to the conclusion, as when I was an evangelical, you thought that Democrats, you would go along with the phrase Democrats, you would go along, like they wanted to kill babies. They hate marriage, the women are all angry and hate men or whatever. You hear feminism and you thought like man hater. And then as I deconstructed, I'm like, oh, wait a second. There are people that are feminists that actually love men. They think men are great and stuff, and they don't want women to rule over men. They want equality. They want us to be seen as equals. Not that we can do everything the same, but that we are equal in standing. Like we have equal rights to power and that kind of stuff. We should all be represented. It's not like men are smarter and so they should rule or something like that. Women should help with all of that too, and men can help with the nurturing and all the things. And I think I like that idea. I think that actually is closer to what's actually true. But you can swing to the other side and be like, be on the far left and look at the right and say, you all hate women because you want to oppress them. And then yet there were people who on the right that do not want to oppress women. They actually care and love and respect women in their lives. And so it's on both sides. It's not just Christianity, but deconstruction is and deconstructing from evangelical Christianity has taught us that there's so much more to deconstruct from, like white supremacy that has been put in us. I would never consider myself a racist, but I have been taught racist ideas, and they are for sure programmed in me somewhere. And until I know they're there, I don't know what to do with them because I don't know they're there. And then they'll pop up or something, and I can go, oh, well, that's kind of a racist viewpoint there, and I, instead of shaming myself, I'll go, I was programmed that way. Let's work on deprogramming it or deconstructing it.
Yeah. So we're going to get into that and just kind of looking at different things that we held as absolute truths and kind of see the different perspectives of it. So I think one we'll jump in right away and do the rest of this episode on is our good friend Jesus.
I think it's going to go more than just one episode of him.
Oh, it's going to go a while. But just the idea of Jesus, because I think that has been hijacked and redefined in today's modern Christendom.
Even more so than it was when I was a kid. Like Jesus, the Jesus that Christian nationalists, or a lot of people that wouldn't necessarily call them Christians, people that I was friends with that were Christian, the Jesus that they claim they worship is a very different Jesus than I grew up believing in. I believed in this like loving God, and they're like, he is anti this. Well,
let's get into that. What is today's Christian Jesus? I mean, you think of the imagery, it's the white guy with the long flowing, well-conditioned and taking care of hair. He's got a great build, he's probably about 6 foot tall and maybe
just cut like crazy. Yeah. Just so
like
muscular.
0% body fat.
Yeah.
Got the abs that are just
chiseled jaw. Everything is like,
got that perfect jawline. I mean, he's real alpha, a real Chad. And, I've seen images with him with a gun, draped in the American
flag. Yeah.
Wearing a MAGA hat.
Oh my God.
All this. So it's been hijacked into white American Jesus. And he's white. He's definitely white.
He is white.
So much so that, people actually think this will be something else. This is an off tangent thing. I've been seeing a lot of this here on some posts too of these Baptist and Calvinist and all these teaching about.
They are not teaching that he's white.
No, but they're teaching about the New King James Version of the Bible. It'll be another thing we did construct coming down the pipe will be the Bible. And they're like, I don't care if you listen to the Greek. It is not as good. And it's not God's word like the New King James Version.
I know. It's like, are you insane? What are you saying, people? What are you saying?
Yeah.
It's such, and we wonder why, and I hate to say this, but I myself am included in this. When I was in Christianity and I still struggle, it's just like, there's such an ignorance. There's such an, just ignorant, very, very ignorant. And still notice it creep up sometimes.
Yeah, and that plays into it because they think it's the best because it's in English. And so that leads to the white Jesus, because that's just like us.
He spoke English, apparently. Yeah.
Jesus
that was the best language.
Spoke clear English when no one would understand what he was saying, because no one down there spoke English like we speak today. I don't care about the Aramaic. I don't care about the Hebrew or the Greek or any of that.
Yeah.
English is the only thing I listen to because that's what God speaks in.
America.
So the modern Jesus, that's the imagery that you get of him.
In America, yes. And that's the Jesus we're going to be talking about, is the white American Jesus.
Yeah, what the Christians think. So the personality of him,
his personality is he's just not meaning fair.
No.
Just meaning like almost brutal if you disagree with him.
Oh, yeah.
Like he'll burn you forever if you don't believe in him.
Yeah.
If you are attracted to same sex and you act on it, oh God, he is going to give you a disease or something.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to punish you. He thinks you're disgusting or whatever. If you don't, actually, he doesn't like you if you're a woman and you don't want to get married. If you don't want to have children, oh man, you're horrid. He's very negative. There's a lot of things he does not like. I'm trying to think of the things he does like. Oh, he likes.
Well, and it's not even because they hide that in the language. It's like, no, it's not that he hates them. He just wants them to be doing right. So
because he knows what's good for them, and otherwise it's bad for them. But why would it be good or bad for them? It would be good or bad for them based on him punishing them. Correct? Yeah. I mean, that's really what it boils down to.
His rules that he set down.
Yeah,
so he's a rule setter.
He's very rigid, and he's very he saves you from the hell that he created for you, right? Because he had to have created it, right? Yeah. Nobody else was creating. And then he created the potential for you to go there. And because the first people sinned, all of us are born.
Yeah, we're cursed with
basically a sinful nature, a desire to want to break all the rules or something. And and when we were in church, it was even taught that we are born on our way to hell. Mm-hmm. We're born deserving of hell. Not just on your way, you deserve it. You're unworthy. And I remember the pastor putting this up on the board. It was actually the last church we were at. And he was like, you're basically on this trajectory toward hell, and God just saves some. Now that's Calvinism, I think. Then you have different ones. Yeah. But nobody's born. I never taught it that we were on our way to heaven. But yet they will say babies will go to heaven. So then that makes me go, well, then why is an abortion?
Some of them are starting to change that though. Because they put themselves, it was the whole age of, what do they call it? Where it was 8 years old.
Age of, what's that called? Of accountability?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Was 8
or 12 or something.
And the reason they set that up was because
I think they even moved it to 20 at some churches.
Medieval times, this was a teaching that was prevalent of everyone's destined for hell. So you're born with original sin.
Are you talking out your ass right now?
No, this is true.
Okay.
So what was happening was parents were killing off their children.
Oh, God. For real?
Yeah, because then they were automatically going to heaven.
I mean, that makes sense to me because that's with this thinking. I'm like, why aren't they pro-abortion? Because these kids would automatically go to heaven.
Church started recognizing, oh shit, this teaching's getting really stuck into them. They're finding a loophole. Okay, let's make the age accountability.
We're losing all the workers we need.
And they started preaching, and so they developed this new thing of, okay, 8 years old is the age accountability, so don't kill your kids before 8. Then they
after 8,
now they can start making decisions on their own and understanding what's going on. So then that's where that came from.
Wow,
and it was in medieval times or something. Over in Europe, that started being taught.
because these belief systems that they teach people have consequences, because people will then take them. You had Andrea Yates or whatever who killed her own children. She probably had some sort of thinking like that. Yeah. Like, hey, if I just kill them off before they get much older, they'll go to heaven.
That stuck around here until recently. And you got people like Mark Driscoll now that are saying, well, no, that's not necessarily true. I think kids, you look at that little baby and that baby's deserving of hell. But why are they doing that? Is because then abortionists and the pro-choice people are saying, hey, here's a free pass. These kids,
And they're not basically, and that is not to say, I think Christians might hear that and go, oh, so pro-choice people are saying you should all abort. No, they're just saying, hey, if that's the decision that you choose is the right decision for you,
well, I think it was
it's a choice, then you shouldn't, God's not gonna, the baby's not going to hell.
I should turn around for this because this is straight out of my ass. But I think it was because some people started arguing that because they were trying to argue within the logic of the faith, being like, well, isn't this a better decision?
I mean, that's
now they don't have to live.
Yeah.
They don't have to make decisions, and there's not a
they're not going to sin at all. Yeah.
That they're going to sin and go. So automatical straight there.
That could be why they're pushing now. Driscoll saying something like that. That could be the connection.
I think that's part of it is that they're like, oh no, now we found this.
So now we got to swing back the other direction and say, and then it's just going to swing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And you got to stop going back and forth with these people because this is why this stuff needs to be deconstructed.
So now they have to say, they have to be born and then they have to be brought up in the faith so then they can go to heaven. Otherwise, all aborted babies go straight to hell, which says a horrible message by your God.
Then, if that's true, then that God is awful. Yeah. That's an awful being. Why would you want to spend eternity with that being?
Yeah.
That would do that.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's a catch-22 for them. And they don't want you to deconstruct. That's all that deconstructing is actually looking at everything really closely. Like you think of a sandwich. You have a sandwich, there's 2 pieces of bread, you have meat, cheese, sauces, or whatever in there, and you deconstruct it. You take it apart, and you're looking at what is in this thing. What's in here? What are the pieces that make it up? And
hopefully it's not a cat.
It's from a movie, and if you know. So like if you... That's all deconstruction is. And I know the Christian world has caught on to this word and they are,
they're fighting
talking about what it is, if it's good or bad, or whether limits to it. Should there be any limits into what you can look more closely at and break it apart and look at it and see if if it holds up to scrutiny? I think if something is the truth, it should hold up to all scrutiny. And when it doesn't hold up to some scrutiny, if it doesn't hold up, it doesn't hold true, then you let go of it. It's that simple. It's not really hard. It's just like, hey, this doesn't hold up to this absolute truth or this something that we observed. But within Christianity, or at least evangelical Christianity, they wanted you to believe things that were against like go back to what... what's the guy who did the Genesis, did the ark thing? What's his name?
Ken Ham.
Ken Ham. He basically, one of the things that got me thinking that evolution might have some validity was the starlight, that we know it's billions of years old. And I look, both sides agree that it's that old, right? Why do we have light that's billions of years old? That doesn't make sense if the earth has only been around for 10,000 years or so. And in order to accept that, which they can see that the light is old somehow, I don't know how to do all that, but they can see that, yes, this light is very old, then we have to then bend other things that are actually, we know to be true, at least in this present moment.
You have to operate outside the laws of physics.
Yeah, so the speed of light is 187,000 whatever, something like that, right?
Yeah.
Miles per hour or whatever.
Per second,
yeah. And he's like, well, God sped it up. So you're just pulling out things out of your ass, like we do on this podcast all the time. And you're just saying, that's the truth, and that's what God, that had to be true, because the way I read this Bible is it's 10,000 years old, and I cannot deconstruct that belief. Yeah. So if you're not willing to deconstruct that belief, you can try to deconstruct the belief that light is that fast, right? But you're not going to find anything that defies it right now. We don't have anything because it just holds true wherever we go.
Yeah.
So that can be something that settles more as a truth until it's proven otherwise. It's more of a truth. And then you test it against the theory of this old light, or not the theory, this old light coming at us. Now you have this fact of the old light. And now what do? Something's got to bend. If you have a belief that says, no way can this light be this old, but you have it's just, that's what deconstruction is using, you got to use critical thinking skills, common sense, And you have to break things apart and look at them closely and scrutinize them and see what holds up to it. And if it's the truth, it will hold up no matter what.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, and what happens a lot, like with Ken Ham, is you're working from your answer that you want to hold on to. And now you're going to look and prove that by changing the facts.
You'll
around
change
it.
the facts, yes.
Instead of
and that's
letting
the
the
thing.
data speak
Then
to
you're
you.
bending the truth to fit your belief system instead of letting your belief system. Here's the thing. A belief system usually, what a belief system is what you're convinced is true. You usually cannot change I don't think a true belief system is easy, like you can't adjust it. It gets adjusted by being convinced, right? It's just this conviction because of what the evidence comes to you. So what they're doing instead is they have a belief system that they believe to be true. That's fair. Okay, fine. We have our belief systems. So they hold this belief system that the earth is 10,000 years old or whatever it is. And instead of going, maybe the belief system needs to be adjusted because the facts are coming at me and they're proving otherwise. Instead, they will just reject the facts. So they reject science or shift the facts in a way that it can adjust and sit with it, right? Instead of just accepting the facts and then the belief system needs to be scrutinized. In deconstruction, it's the other way around. You look at the facts and you go, wait a second, the belief system doesn't match. Is the belief system true? And you start to go down that road. And if you're punished for that in the end, like, I don't want to live with a being that punishes me for actually following the true breadcrumbs that actually lead to truth.
You're doing what investigators do in crime scenes.
Yeah.
It's let the evidence speak.
Yes.
And tell the story.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
And
instead of the other way around.
If you're looking and you see the evidences that are plain and simple to see, and it's telling you a story, and then you believe what that evidence is telling you,
you'll arrive at the truth. Probably.
But then if something above that says, well, you're wrong, so you're going to jail for believing that. Well, that's unjust.
Exactly. Or it would be like, and also how I feel like in evangelical Christianity, how we were more operating was like maybe a detective that went in and be like, I want that guy to take the blame because I need to satisfy the public. So I'm just going to pick this guy and I'm going to make all the evidence point to him somehow. And if it doesn't, I'll manipulate it till it does, or I'll leave it out altogether and I'll twist things. And so that this person gets convicted of the crime.
Yeah.
And then so you're unjust. Yeah. And then you get praised on high for doing that. That's insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's insane. That is not, in no way do I want to live with some being for eternity. That seems like that absolutely would be hell.
Yeah. And it's a being that's tricking you then too.
And what's to stop him from tricking you in eternity?
Here's all the evidence that you have. Yeah. But just know, if you believe in me, you got to believe that that evidence is untrue. And I manipulated the laws of physics. I put deceptive things,
see if you'll believe. I'm testing you all the time. And whatever.
Yeah. It's shitty.
Yeah.
But, so... Getting into astrophysics here, talking about Jesus.
That's all right.
But so yeah, there's Jesus. He's very much a stickler for the rules. He set these rules, follow these rules. And we're talking about modern American Jesus, what the Christians believe. What else is there for him? Trying to think what some of our family and friends say about.
Well, the thing is, there's a mixed message about him because they'll say he's unconditionally loving, but he's very conditionally loving.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't believe in him, first of all, there's the fact that, he's going to burn you in hell.
Kind of like that. We're very unconditional in our love for you.
But if you don't believe like us, then we have to shun you and you're outside the group, right? You're not like us anymore. Yeah. If you have a lifestyle that's different than ours, which, it's usually used against LGBTQ people, the LGBTQ lifestyle, which whatever that is, a lot of LGBTQ people live exactly like cis straight, like people. I don't know what that's supposed to mean when they say that, but, if you are convinced that another religion is true, you're out. If you are a Democrat, actually, at least when I was growing up, you couldn't be a Christian. Like the first time I heard someone say they were a Christian and they were a Democrat, I almost fell out of my chair. Like I was like, I thought it was impossible. And the only reason I didn't go, then there's no way they're a Christian, is because I had known this person for a
Yeah.
long time as a Christian. I didn't know they were a Democrat. When they said it, I was like, what the fuck? That blows my mind. Now, so having said that, my grandma was a Democrat.
Mhm.
I did not put those pieces together. I do remember my dad arguing with her.
Yeah, it's kind of like your mom when she's talking about people she knows that aren't professing Christians, but she's like, oh, I know they're a Christian and they're going to heaven, when they
Yeah.
die or something like that.
Because they're kind or something. And it's hard for her to she doesn't want to put that together in her
Yeah.
head. But really, I mean, according to some
'Cause
Christians
you've had
would have
that
no problem.
conversation with your parents of, because of your beliefs, you think I'm going to hell.
Yeah, they don't like
and they
that.
don't like
my
that.
mom, especially. I think my dad doesn't mind it.
He's
so
like,
much.
good
He's
luck. Here's some suntan
yeah.
lotion.
So, but my mom doesn't like to believe that,
Yeah.
and it's just like, well, Mom, you kind of have to, because that's really what your faith teaches. But she doesn't want to believe it because she's actually more loving than the God that she claims to believe in.
Yeah.
Which
Amen, sister.
is messed up. So he's supposed to be all loving, unconditionally loving, which is key. Because they'll even say agape love, which is his love, is unconditional, right? But it's very conditional. You have to believe in him. Then you have to, once you believe in him, you have to also follow the rules that they have told you are his, right? And if you don't, that's how you prove that you believe in him.
Mm-hmm.
So you back it up by your actions. So I would say that's, he's also pro-war when it is convenient or if it's on their political side.
Yeah.
Which a lot of times it seems like he's a lot of pro-war. He's very pro-war, actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
You're looking at right now, and you got the Secretary of Defense sitting here saying, we need to be in this war so that we can usher in his coming back.
So he's here. Yeah, that's the thing. He's all powerful. That's another thing they teach. And yet he's so weak. He needs people to legislate laws to enforce his rules because he can't do it. So he's anti-abortion, and yet he doesn't stop all the abortions that go on. He needs men to legislate it. And actually, he's let it go free for a while where it was illegal. And, in some places it's legal, in some places it's not.
Yeah.
So he's not completely all in power, or he's very weak. So they'd say he's all powerful. They'd say he's all present. And yet terrible things happen and he doesn't stop them from happening. If he's all powerful and all present, how is he letting these things happen that he hates so much? Or maybe he doesn't hate them, or maybe he's powerless. Like, their idea of God is not holding up. But these are all the things that I was taught. He's all powerful. He's all knowing. He knows everything. And yet, and I think the way they get around this is, if you point this out to someone like, say, a street preacher or a pastor, they will say, like, he gives you free will. He wants you to have free will.
Mm-hmm.
But what about in the situations where there is no free will? Let's say the mother or the woman who is pregnant goes in and she has the abortion and he doesn't stop it, So she had free will, but did the child, because we consider that a full, person has the same amount of rights. And they didn't get their free will. So God's free will is not free for everyone, or, is it just free for the person, or a husband abusing his wife? Like, you have free will, like, he doesn't stop it. The woman actually has to do something to get herself out of the situation, or she ends up, and a lot of times the advice from, I want to say well-meaning Christians, but I don't know. It's like, submit.
Well, they think, and going back to the psychosis,
they think their God's going to step in.
Fervent belief is that they think that is the answer.
They do.
Submit.
They think if you submit and you do if you submit to God by staying in that situation where you're being abused, God will somehow miraculously change it. But that's not how it works. You have to change something. You have to get out. You have to do what you have to do to survive.
Yeah.
It's not going to miraculously happen. And sometimes it will, but it might seem miraculous, but it's usually something you told somebody.
Yeah.
Or you said something. You made some sort of move that started the energy kind of going in a different direction to get you some help. And then they'll give God all the credit when it wasn't this being in the sky. It was you doing something about it, And then the people that came along and helped. So it's like, I don't know. It's just this idea that this God, okay, he's all loving, he's all powerful, he's omnipresent, and all of these ideas, and he's all loving. These are all the things they preach, right? Those are all the things we were told from the pulpit.
Mm-hmm.
He's everywhere, all the time, knows everything, is unconditionally loving, and yet, if that is true, if all those things are true at the same time, we have there's a lot of contradiction going on. And he's very dependent on man to do things. He's very dependent on man to start wars that don't get completed in a way. And then if it doesn't go the way that those people intended, it's the demons. It's the devil. It's somebody else was blocking God. So the God is very weak. And yet they claim nobody's stronger than him. He's the strongest. He's the most powerful. And yet the devil is doing more things in the world than ever. It seems like the devil's more powerful.
Yeah.
I don't know how
That's his grand plan. He's allowing the devil to do this to make him seem powerful so that when he comes back, he can prove his might.
I would say that's to deceive us then.
Yeah. Well, no, that's because you're easily deceived.
Because I'm a woman.
And that's why you deserve hell.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So I think we've at least for this episode, we've laid down the groundwork of what the Jesus is we were taught. And I do think that we did it fairly. We were taught. What are some of the things?
Unconditional love.
He's unconditionally loving.
Just.
He's just, which would mean fair, but their idea of justice and this God's idea of justice is eternal punishment for 80 years of sinning.
Yeah.
Okay? Which doesn't seem just to me. So he's merciful. He's completely merciful, and yet not, but okay. He's all-knowing, all-powerful, all-present.
Yeah.
And another thing I was taught is that he wants everyone to come to forgiveness of sins. He desires that all should be saved.
But the path is narrow, so not all will come.
Yeah. But free will. But he gave everybody free will to choose, even though it's not clear what the choice is they're supposed to be making.
Yeah.
But yet it's free. It's free will. You can choose whatever. And they say it's very clear. And it's... Show us how it's clear. How is it clear?
Show me the money.
And you know what they'll say? The stars in the sky prove that there's a God. No, that doesn't. You know what I'm saying? We saw that bulletin board, I think, on our way to vacation, like, a child proves that God exists. How? How does a baby prove that God exists? It proves that life exists.
It's a miracle, the miracle of life.
God, it's okay.
So
you're just making a huge leap that it's not able to be connected. But anyway, so those are the things that is the idea of Jesus that we were taught, that I was taught in evangelical Christianity. I think pretty much in Catholicism, most of those are kind of true too, that you're taught, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Wasn't he all-knowing?
Not quite as evangelized as wasn't evangelical. It was a little more doled down, but
the Catholic Jesus is a little more softer looking. He's not as chiseled. He's very, very pale and thin.
On a crucifix, he's pretty chiseled.
He's thin. You see all of his ribs.
Yeah.
He's kind of chiseled, but not really.
Yeah, I think that was the 70s influence.
But he's also like very pale in the Sacred Heart things or whatever, where you see like he's but very Anglo-Saxon looking. So so he's white. He's got all the powers and he's all loving.
Yep.
That's the Jesus we were taught.
So we got that groundwork laid. So
alongside another Jesus, which we could talk about that Jesus next week.
So we'll get into that more next week. Breaking down and actually deconstructing this and seeing the perspectives of what this Jesus really was. So we'll get in there. We'll get in there next week. So if you're following us on YouTube, follow, and subscribe. We'd appreciate that greatly. 5 stars on all the streaming devices. And in the description, DannyCan.com. Click on that. Get a hold of us. See what we got going on and all that good stuff. So other than that, I need to get to bed.
Yeah.
I'm not doing well. But we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.